All right, so we are ready to finish up this lesson. This is part 3. And so everything that we're going to be doing over here is finding missing angles. So in this case, we know 2 side lengths, but we have a missing angle. And I've gone ahead and highlighted all of my missing angles. So whenever we are missing an angle, okay, when theta is what we don't know, we have to use the inverse of this function. So sine to the -1 is the inverse. So let's jump right in, and I'm going to show you how I use that. But let me just say that we're still using sine, cosine, and tangent, okay? So I'll keep these colors the same. Sine, cosine, and tangent. Alrighty. So for example number 1, I know that I need to find this angle, X, okay? And so, what do I know about the sides? Which sides do I know in relation to this angle? I know the opposite, and this is the hypotenuse because it's across from the 90. So I know opposite and hypotenuse, which is my sine function, okay? Sine of X equals 15 over 24. Now here's how we handle this, okay? In order to get the X by itself, we need to just move the sine function over to the other side. So when I do that, I get the inverse sine of -1 and then 15 over 24. And I can still simplify this just as easily in my Desmo calculator. You just need to remember to select the sine to the -1 power, the inverse. Let's go to my internet. Here it is. So now what I'm going to type is go to my function, and you see sine to the -1. And now I will type my 15 divided by 24, and my answer pops right up there for me. 38.68 is the same as 38.7, and that is degrees because it is an angle measure. So I went ahead and I put my answer right here. All right, let's do example 2. Here is my angle. So notice that when X is an angle, I'm putting the degree symbol up above it to help remind me of that. And now let's determine the sides that I know of this triangle in relation to this angle. This is the side adjacent because it is the leg that touches this angle. So adjacent, and this is across from the 90-degree angle. So it's hypotenuse. So adjacent and hypotenuse will be cosine, where the adjacent goes on top, the hypotenuse is on bottom. Again, we're going to do the inverse of the cosine function. Cosine to the -1, and then 8 over 11. And you can type that directly into your Desmo calculator. So click Functions, cosine to the -1, and then 8 over 11. 8 divided by 11, and I get 43.3. So 43.3 degrees. And that is my solution. Okay. Let's do this number 3 together, and then I'm going to have you all pause and try 4, 5, and 6 on your own. Okay. So number 3, here's my angle. From this angle measure, I know the adjacent side here, and I know the opposite side up there. So adjacent and opposite is going to be my tangent function, where the O goes on top. So 20 over 37. Let's do the inverse of this. We only need to do these inverses when we're finding angles, okay? So let's type this into our Desmo calculator. So the inverse of the tangent function, so tan to the negative 1, and this is 20 divided by 37. So I get 28.4. 28.4. So 28.4 degrees. All right, guys, I'm going to leave this right here. I would like for you to complete 4, 5, and 6. And just so that you're aware, the solutions for them are 38.5 degrees. And at least this way, when you complete it, you'll know if you did it right or not. 77.3 and 54.5. And if we need to go over any of these as a class, please just let Miss Brown know, let me know, and then we can stop and I'll show you the work and we can go over them together. So pause your video and try them on your own. And then we'll just do them together only if you're struggling. Alrighty, let's go do number 7 together. So I need to find angle W. I need to find this angle right here. Okay, so let's see how I'm going to go about doing that. I don't have enough information in this triangle, XWZ. I only know one side and that's it. So I'm going to need to start in this smaller triangle, XYZ. So here's the angle measure that I do know. Okay, so I do know the angle measure, and I know the opposite. So this is the opposite. And let's just call this little a, okay? Actually, I don't know, hypotenuse, okay? This is for hypotenuse. So I know the opposite and the hypotenuse. Opposite and hypotenuse is my sine function. The opposite is 15, and I do not know the hypotenuse. So don't forget our shortcut. We're going to flip-flop these around. X is going to equal 15 over sine 25. And so X is going to end up equaling, let's see, let's go to our Desmo calculator and type this in. So I need to use the regular old 15 first. 15 divided by, and I'm using the regular sine function because I know the angle measure, 25. And I'm going to get 35.5. 35.5. Okay, 35.5 is that side length. Now, let's use this side length to find this angle measure. So, from this angle, W, oops, I forgot to go back. Sorry, guys. Okay, so I solved for this missing side. Now I'm ready to go find this angle measure. So in this triangle, I know that 22 is adjacent to W. And I know that 35.5 is opposite W. So I know opposite and adjacent. What uses opposite and adjacent? And that is the tangent function. Okay, so the tangent of this missing angle that I don't know equals the opposite, so 35.5 over the adjacent, which is 22. So to get that angle measure by itself, I'm going to do tangent inverse, and then I'm going to go and type in those numbers, and that's going to give me my angle measure. So let's go do that. So I'm going to go back to Desmos and delete all this. And so I'm typing, the function is the tangent inverse, and then 35.5 divided by 22. And I get 58.2. 58.2 degrees. And that is my answer. That is on my notes, 58.2 degrees. Awesome. We're almost done. We only have one more example to do here for finding the angle measures. And let's do an application. Jaden is flying a kite and he lets off 275 feet of string. So this is my little dude, Jaden, and this is his kite. So the length of the string is going to be 275. If the kite is 150 feet above the ground, so 150 feet above the ground, and assuming that the string is straight, what angle does the string make with the ground? So we need to find this missing angle. So what information do I know? Well, this is a right triangle, and that 275 is the hypotenuse of the triangle. And then from this angle, 150, that is opposite the angle. So we're using hypotenuse and we're using opposite, which is going to be my sine function. So sine of theta equals the opposite over the hypotenuse. And so let's just do our sine inverse to figure out what theta is. And you can type this directly into your Desmos calculator. And what we're going to get is 33 degrees. 33 degrees. I do my thetas kind of messy. A lot of people do it like that to make it all neat. Okay. Again, this is just our theta sign. We use this as a symbol when we have an angle measure that we don't know. All right, kiddos. This was the last part of our lesson number 6. I know that it was a huge lesson. So I ended up actually breaking it into 3 parts instead of 2, to break it down a little more for you. There are going to be 2 different days worth of practice and then a 3rd day with review and a quiz. So let's get our practice on, okay, guys? Until next time.